We ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Hello, Perceptionists.
Welcome to Perceptionists Anonymous.
I'm Emily.
I'm Christiane.
And I'm Crystalline.
Hi,
I just
girl.
want to call out the motion Christy just did with her hands was like you were holding 2 serving trays, and it just you were like, hello, and I was like, she does that that's like a common.
Joke's on you. I can't serve with my right hand. I'm right-handed, and I'm like, oh no, that would be bad. That'd be very bad. so unnatural. But thanks. I do in all of my videos too. I've noticed, like on TikTok and on YouTube and Instagram. I'm like, hi. I'm like, what? What are you? Why? what? This goth butterfly thing we got going on. I don't get it.
Anyway. I like the goth butterfly idea, though. It's a great image.
That's my gamer name for everything is Gothic ice cream because that's what Weston called it.
Really?
Yeah. So
Dude.
It's now everything on every gamer tag I ever have.
Mine,
awesome.
Oh my god, that reminds me of being on MySpace. These people were, I'm part of the elder emo on TikTok, and it was like, what was your screen name? And it was like Gothic X Beauty at vampirefreaks.com.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Mine was Veggie_horse lover, just to embarrass myself a little bit.
Oh, that
was
is
like my defining characteristic of life.
Oh my god.
And I was a vegetarian.
You win. That's funnier.
Oh,
That's way
I love
funnier.
it.
I'm just a vampire.
See, when I first joined MMOs and got a gamer tag, I was terrified of being yelled at by other people who wanted me to get good when I had just joined. So my name is literally Awana Do Well.
Oh,
I want to do well, I promise.
Oh, I feel that way about lots of things. Yoga. Like, I'm literally trying. I'm trying so hard.
Well, the problem was people kept misinterpreting it as I want to duel. And I'm like, no, not PvP. It's me saying I want to do well. Don't fight me.
Oh my god, that's funny. They're all, beat the emo kid. Oh, poor girl. All right. Well, you're doing just fine.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool.
I gotta do well.
All right. What's up, ladies? What are we doing?
This has been a moment with Perception.
Right. And we're not cutting this shit out. You're welcome.
Oh.
Veggie horse lover and me. We approve this message.
I think it was at like Hotmail too. Like I think it was something that was like
or like MSN before
Yahoo.
Right. Yeah.
Yahoo exists still.
Yeah, Yahoo's still a thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
On 2 legs or
it survived.
That's cool.
So, as we're talking about like our histories and our unconscious things and stuff that we haven't visited for a long time, let's talk about Pisces season.
Okay. Start crying right now.
Yeah. So Pisces season is an interesting one this year, and I'm super excited because later this year, unfortunately not quite yet, we do have some hurdles to jump before this, but Jupiter will be going into Pisces in May, which is going to be great energy. So everybody look forward to that. But for now, Pisces season starts on my grandma's birthday, which is always cute. It's going to be
Pisces too. Oh yeah.
Really? Oh, 24th? So cool. I think well, actually, it starts on the 18th this year. Super early. Yeah, crazy early Pisces season.
That is really early. I didn't actually think about that when we said we were recording at the 18th for Pisces. That's super. Why?
Yeah, I'm double checking, but
February's
0
weird.
degrees, 0 Pisces is on the 18th, and it's just that's what the sun do, man. Like I don't know.
Also science.
Exactly. This is a science that predates me.
Right. Just the messenger.
Sorry about that. I love that. Recording this episode, I just think all the listeners should be aware it is still Mercury retrograde and it is square my sun right now. So I'm having a day. My dog is having a stomachache. Anyway.
Where are we right now?
I don't know. We're in Pisces season, just way too early. Cool. So talking about Pisces season, let me get my grounding crystals out. We have this stellium still hanging out there from in Aquarius that we experienced in the new moon in the last episode. And what I want to do is jump earlier one day before we get into this, because 2021, a lot of us, there was this beautiful thing that started when February came in on February 1st. Everybody was like, okay, guys, this is the new Year's. we're gonna have 2021 start now because January was still 2020 and we don't want it. Okay, maybe your new year should actually be
I like this style.
maybe your new year should actually be Pisces season. And I say this because on the 17th, the day before Pisces season, we have one of the harder aspects of 2021. And the good news is all of the hard aspects that happen in 2021, it's the same thing, but it just happens 3 times. And so it happens early 2021, then it happens again in July, and then again in November. But in between, we have really good periods. So whereas 2020 was just a full year of the height of one aspect just staying together the whole time, because the 2 planets truly just progressed right next to each other the whole time and retrograded and did all these things like in this beautiful waltz that, if it weren't so chaotic, would have been really amazing. It was amazing to behold, for sure. And when we look back on it, it's going to be great to look at, but living through it, we can agree, was an experience. Yeah. So what we're experiencing now is, like I mentioned, I think in the previous episode, 2020 gave us the questions. 2021 is having us find the answers. So there are 3 points in the year where those answers are going to be firmly requested in certain areas of life. And we've already seen those happening in early January, some of the reasons why people wanted to restart the year in February. And we'll get another glimpse of that.
Shit too far. The internet has now progressed too far.
Right. Well, and Aquarius and air cycles, the internet is actually having its Saturn return right now, believe it or not. Go figure, right? Yeah. So on the 17th, Saturn will square Uranus. For the first time this year of 3 times, there will be a retrograde where we will revisit whatever themes become prominent around the 17th of this month. And so what I'm expecting is we're going to see things that need to change. We're going to see breaking away from old conventions and new spiritual perspectives and understandings and institutions so that we can create new rules. So truly like an awareness, a consciousness, a heightening of that from earthy kind of structural institutions of what spirituality and faith and belief should be into this new concept of finding truth, finding understanding, finding consciousness, that more air, equity, humanitarian kind of aspect, right? We're not trying to put names to things as much anymore, if you've noticed, right? We're coming into a period where there's a feeling that just sort of surpasses a name. Okay. And a lot of people can agree on that, like this universal truth. So that's kind of something that we're coming into, but we have to watch as things change to allow that to happen. So that's one of the things that you'll see is we're breaking away from old institutions, conventions, old structures. We're going from steampunk and industrial revolution into more eco and that kind of vibe. And I think a lot of us have already been seeing that coming on Twitter. When I see an article of like a new shoe that's easier to put on or like a little spacey, I'll retweet it and just say, here's the air stuff. This is what you're seeing. It's happening. And like, you can see how it's happening in tangible real life. So if you see my tweets on Twitter, usually that's the kind of stuff I'm sharing there, just to give evidence of what we're looking at. So it feels a lot more normal as compared to like, ooh, space and you know, cyberpunk. But really, how unreal does the Jetsons feel these days? Like the Jetsons.
It's okay.
Hi, Zelda.
That was actually Jack. The Jetsons isn't that far-fetched. So they had flying cars. We're on the precipice of that anyway. I heard Japan's testing that. But we're going to space. We sent a car to space. You know, like it's not so far off anymore. All these expectations of what it would be like in the future, we're kind of catching up to that and making it even more efficient and less clunky and conceptualizing things in a more fluid and also eco-conscious way, which is what Uranus and Taurus is asking for. It's saying, hey, Saturn in your air sign, as you're restructuring all this stuff, don't forget to integrate the earth. And so that's where a lot of this revolution is coming in. All these earthy things are getting a bit of an air blast to them to make it more conscious and that kind of thing. So ultimately it ends up with positive results, But we are seeing the growth of that. We are seeing the process of that. And sometimes those changes aren't comfortable to experience, but they lead to something really amazing and worth the wait and worth the effort. So that's one thing that I did want to bring up before we go into Pisces season. And the good news is just after Pisces season on the 20th, Mercury goes direct. So we'll be able to finally move forward with all the things that have felt blocked, and maybe our words will come across a little bit more easily. I sure hope so. So with Pisces season itself on the 18th, what we're looking at for the duration of Pisces season, as Pisces does, there's a lot of internal spiritual work happening. Pisces is about spiritual expansion. It is traditionally ruled by Jupiter, which is why it's so exciting that Jupiter will be visiting it later this year.
I didn't know that.
But also at the time, the moon will be in Taurus, where the moon likes to be. And so we'll be shedding old world views for new ones, new concepts, new ideas, new ways of actually seeing the world. The world will physically remain pretty similar. You know, it'll evolve as it does, but the way we understand it, the way that we perceive it, will be able to change. And I think that that's been happening for a lot of us already. And we also have this whole drive towards a rebirth. We want this new stuff. We don't want to go back to where we were before. We've noticed that through these changes, possibly there are some things that actually are kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
So those things will become part of the norm. And we're redefining what norm means and who norm applies to and how inclusive that is. And I'm very much looking forward to that.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had the weirdest intuitive inclination when you're talking about like these new shoes. For some reason, I thought of, do you guys know who Paul Stamets is? The mushroom guy? All right, he's absolutely incredible, but he has this hat made of mycelium, and for some reason my thought was, oh yeah, shoes made out of mycelium, because then they can be, I mean, they can like make them into almost any texture, any shape, anything. It's totally versatile, totally green. And for some reason I was like, why that? Like, I guess I'm going to be Googling that shit, but that's probably a level of the future, is like using this level of mycelium to create things that we wear. That's going to be a big deal, I think, like also hemp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, well, these shoes that I brought up, they're actually for people who either can't reach their shoes for whatever reason, or can't have the dexterity to actually do shoelaces and things like that. So the concept is they're arched in such a way that you step into them, and then when you press your foot down, they just mold to your foot when they
That's
flatten.
awesome.
And then you can just kind of toe them off and they bend again, allowing your
Cool.
foot to come out.
How cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be good for
cool.
grandmas.
Yeah. Yeah, super accessible.
My 10-year-old who has
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea.
10-year-old with CP.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a great, God, I can't believe he's 10. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, he's humongous. He's 10.
Wow. Right on. Well, that
The
sounds
moral
great.
of the story is I'm old.
Yeah, we say that until we're old and we're like, damn it, we weren't even that old yet.
Yeah, no, but like seriously, the precipice of your Saturn return, it's a thing. Like I just finished mine. I know you guys are experiencing yours. I think you've passed your exacts already. So you had a pretty decent
I think my exact
experience of it. Really? I'll have to look at it. I'll go back and check yours for you. Yeah. Well, it's the age. It's not exactly the age. It's the degree of Saturn and whether or not it retrogrades back over your thing. So it's a period of change. For anybody who's interested in their Saturn return, I do specialize in this in readings, but here's a little preview. It's like a 3-year period of change.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm realizing is it helps you really get rid of the old reason why you thought you were here, and it brings you into a better reason. It's like, what is my why for being here? You go through what can sometimes feel like an existential crisis because you don't know why you're here. But then when you realize this deeper reason, it's a better reason than you started with.
Yeah.
So cool. I feel good. 3 years. When I was listening to that 2021 horoscope today, they were talking about all the things that were in Capricorn over the last 3 years. And I was like, yeah, dude, these last 3 years were hard. But I feel good. Good moving forward.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're definitely moving into better times as the planets continue to separate. I mean, they are literally all in Aquarius right now. If they could just go to their separate rooms for a while, that'll be nice. And we will start experiencing that later on this year. So that's nice. Also, the affirmation that I had written for Pisces season is I see the world in a new way. And I find God, creator, spirit, whatever you relate to best, in everything and everyone I see. So I see the world in a new way, and I find God in everything and everyone I see. It's so important that we recognize that that person, as frustrating as they may be, as much as they may trigger something within us, there's something in them that is of the creator as well. That is, it's that whole namaste, like the light in me witnesses and honors the light in you. So namaste is another great affirmation for this Pisces season.
Cool.
See that? I feel it. Thank you.
Well, I'm ready for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Hawaii in Pisces season. So
Oh yeah. Yay.
Yeah, that's gonna be so fun.
Cool.
Yeah,
Right
and
on,
then-
ladies.
I think that's a good reminder though, because we're going to see my father-in-law who lives there, and he is a very frustrating human. So
As most father-in-laws are.
Aw.
so it's good to know. That's a perfect affirmation. I was like, okay, that feels
Yeah.
good. So then tell us
Yeah.
about the full moon.
Yeah, the full moon is just 10 days later, and it's got this great aspect to it called a
That
kite.
great aspect.
It
I love that. That was good.
broke me.
Go
I've
on.
never thought about it in that context before, but
Oh
thank
my
you. I will
gosh,
never
say
be
it
able to say
again.
this
Say
the same
it
way
again.
again.
So many different
It's got
jokes you
this
could make.
great aspect to
Right.
it.
With all of the
Called a
different terms
kite.
in astrology, like your sextile, your aspect. You have a ton of different options.
I'm the girl from Pennsylvania. We have towns called intercourse and bird in hand, and
Oh,
like so.
really?
I'm programmed not to even go there anymore, just because it's everywhere.
That's funny.
So we do have a kite aspect, which is really auspicious. It's like a point, and it's not very common. And with the moon, I usually wouldn't count it since the moon moves so quickly, but because the full moon becomes exact, creating this kite, it's really cool to be able to say, like, at this full moon, there is something that is of destiny to it, which is awesome, right? So we're looking at more themes of revolutionizing old systems and beliefs and changing for real this time, if you choose to. The thing is, so many times we're like, man, I wish I saw magic in everyday life. Man, I wish I could believe this. I wish I could understand this. This time, we're not messing around. And before, here's an excuse for you. Before, we were in a very earthy paradigm. You may have been born for a world where magic felt real every day, and you just weren't in that time yet. Time had to catch up with your spirit. Well, it has now. We are in this cycle of air, of spirituality. So with this kite aspect, with the full moon, we are releasing all of these old beliefs, releasing all of these old paradigms that limited us from being able to say, you know what, I do see magic in everything. I do understand that as I'm, Christiane, you may relate to this, as I'm putting herbs in my food, there's an intention to that. There's something that goes along with it. And that in and of itself is magical. And I love that so much. I've been very conscious about the creation of everything I do, the steps that go into it, the ingredients, whatever they are, even sewing and everything that has a process to it and slows you down one piece at a time. There's magic in that. And I really enjoy that. As someone who also makes astrological talismans, finding the right time, doing the different consecrations and making the talisman itself with the person in mind, making a gift for someone, there's magic there and you can feel it. So this is a day where we're going to really be able to understand that. And of course, on this day, what makes up a kite is several trines and, Emily, 2 sextiles that go along with it. So we do still have this aspect between Saturn and Chiron, which is...
You called it an auspicious aspect before, and all
I
I
did.
wanted to be like was like, you should have auspicioused that pun so hard, but you didn't. You missed opportunity.
I know. I try to make this as easy to translate over into like actually understanding your own astrology as possible. So I don't want to mince words too much. But between Saturn and Chiron in this day, there is this opportunity, an energy of opportunity, which is what a sextile represents. And it's asking us to face emotional wounds and accept them. You can do that today. I know it's usually something, especially in a Pisces season, this is the time to go deep, to face the things that are in the depths that normally remain in our unconscious. But those are the things that make us do the actions that we're like, where did that even come from? Those things that get triggered are in that Pisces area of your life, or that 12th house area of your life. And this full moon is saying, hey, we can create a system out of letting that go. And we
I like
have
that.
even the North Node will be trine Jupiter, which I put in here as wind beneath your wings, because the North Node is currently in Gemini, and that's in an air sign. Jupiter is in Aquarius at this time, which is also in an air sign, expanding spirituality, which is something Jupiter really loves to do.
Finding
So
in
that whole,
everything.
yeah, wind beneath the wings, the Meraki mindset. Have you heard of this? It's that vase where in, I think it's in Japanese culture, if a vase is broken, they put it back together and they seal it with gold in the cracks. And those cracks become part of the beauty of the vase. I believe that's the Meraki mindset. I may be saying it wrong. I hope I'm not. But that's what I want people to really understand. Yes, those experiences are there, but they aren't bad. You can choose to see them as golden, and you can choose to see them as something that expands upon this vase that was broken before, but now has more character for it. And the glitter of that gold is exactly this Jupiter trine North Node thing that we've got going on. So my affirmation for people during this full moon, as you are releasing all of the things that you don't want to understand in the world anymore, like the way that you see the world that you don't like, and you want to replace it with something new, I honor my past as I embrace my fullest strength and potential with open arms. And I really recommend actually doing standing and opening your arms, because it feels like such a vulnerable thing. Opening that chest space, that heart space, and like just standing that way, even with nobody else in the room, opening that heart space is going to release and create a space for the release of all of these unconscious, emotionally associated things, especially as you say out loud the intention that you are honoring your past. That's magic in and of itself.
I feel like I've been doing that in my meditations, like I'm talking about, like being welcome to opportunity and recognizing opportunity, like literally sitting cross-legged and like pulling your shoulders back. Like that's funny. I've been doing that every day. So good call.
You are right on. You
Ow,
have
ow.
perfect timing.
Thanks, ma'am. Cool. Right on. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for all of your insight, Crystalline.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yeah, that was awesome. Wow. Well, I'm really excited for this time that we're entering into. Thank you again for sharing all of the knowledge with all of our listeners. And listeners, we thank you so much for tuning in. If you want more of Crystalline's amazing astrological wisdom, you definitely want to check out her Instagram at @TheRealCrystalline. She does astrological updates on there for your rising sign. It's super powerful. You can also book readings with her through there, and we highly recommend you do one of those. They're fantastic. So definitely check it out. As she mentioned, especially if you're doing Saturn return stuff, she's great with that. So just plugging that in there. Throwing that in. You can also follow us on Instagram at Perceptionist Anonymous. You can like us on Facebook, Perceptionist Anonymous. You can check us out on YouTube if you're not already checking us out on YouTube at Perceptionist Anonymous, and then email us perceptionistanonymous@gmail.com. Overall, we just really appreciate you all. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we're wishing you all of the best blessings during this really cool time that we're entering into. It'll be magical and super fun. So yeah, again, as always, remember,
you're magical as fuck.